Attention all Ground Zero radio fans.
92 with a special guest, Vinny. But first,
sorry guys, it looks like we're having some technical issues on Alan's side. Hi everybody, I'm Vinny Eastwood from the Vinny Eastwood Show, and I'm trying to rig up a show here with Alan Mosdale, but in Australia there, but he seems to have had a terrible technical glitch. So I must sincerely apologise about that. So he appears to be kind of coming away here now, starting to move perhaps just a little bit, but we still can't hear him. So I want to have a look at the chat room, see who's here already, and we will be getting the show underway momentarily. So give us a shout out in the chat room if you're watching on my channels here, and make sure you go to the VinnyEastwoodShow.com. That's Vinny with a Y because it's the most important question, and Eastwood, like, go ahead, make my news. And Alan appears to be playing something. I'm not sure if he doesn't know that he's glitching out or something of that nature, so I'm just going to send him a little chatty word there. Can't hear you. Image jumping around. There we go. We'll let him know. All right. Well, in lieu of more commonplace sobriquet, we're going to have a look at the VinnyEastwoodShow.com. If you haven't already realised this yet, the show has been going for 16 years now, and all with the help of generous Kiwis and generous Americans and generous Germans and generous Spaniards and generous people from Patagonia and Mexico and all over the world, and even as far north as Canada. How far frickin' north does Canada go? Pretty frickin' far. And all those people are donating one-off or regularly so that the show can continue, which is what it's all about, really. Why do you do the show, Vinny? Well, let's say I'm talking to you. You know, right now I'm talking to you, and there's something that has happened to you in your life, something severely traumatic, and you don't know how to put the pieces back together again. You know, it's just it's caused some kind of permanent damage, and you don't know exactly how to get back to, you know, a normal life, but knowing what you know now, and you're having trouble coping, and you have a need to not feel alone, to not be treated like you're stupid, to not be cast out anymore. And you want somewhere that's friendly and fun and funny and interesting and caring. Really. And that's what the show's really all about at the end of the day. Just trying to provide that nice environment so that you can feel like you're not alone, right? And I've had some trouble with my microphone these last couple of days. I'm sorry if that's too quiet for you. Trying to speak into it a little bit better. So yeah, thank you WCB99 for letting me know. And saying AC/DC, we were faking, we had you shaking. I'm going to have to hang up from Alan's call there and call him back in a moment. I think you're muted. I've got to tell him. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe he just muted himself out accidentally. But we'll come back to him in a minute. So as a result of the way the show's being done, I think I can probably add a lot of credit to Danny Romero, Alex Jones's former producer, from American Freedom Radio. It says there's only one rule on this network: have fun. Because if you're having fun, the audience is having fun. And I took that, very seriously. Hey, you took fun seriously? Yes. And there's a reason for it. Because knowing what you know, having to do the research that you've done, will damage and traumatize you. And you must find some form of coping mechanism. And humour's really good for it because it resets your brain. Your brain goes out of that emotional, freaked out state and comes back into a conscious, analytical state. That's what my naturopath David Holden's been telling me about from holdenhealthcare.com, just to give him a wee plug there. So that people understand that, yes, we're talking about very serious things. We're talking about global enslavement by ultra-intergenerational wealth families. If you had to cauterize the wound, as it were. And when you're faced with such an enormous threat and all the faces that it brings to bear, the ways in which it makes its presence known, you are saturated at all times, even in your own living room, by all the things that the New World Order's made and built up and placed for sale on the shop shelves. And so, if you really think about it, you're constantly surrounded by the enemy. Imagine fighting a war where that was the case. How could you possibly think of winning? Right? And I think maybe people misunderstand victory. I've been thinking about victory this morning. Put it on the board for some reason. I was like, I wonder why victory is important. And I put valor there too. Valor and victory. When you are faced with insurmountable odds, when you know your death is certain, then you are faced with a choice to stand and fight and die anyway, because it's the right thing to do. That's valor. And victory, it's when you win, right? Is it? Is it when you stop the fighting? Is it when you change? Is it when you make something better? Is that what victory is? Because I think if you look at your life, how many little victories you've had. Victories of that person. Oh, here we go. We've got Ellen's coming back, and those speakers are still way too loud.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well.
And I can hear myself too.
Okay. Yeah, well, the headset really works, so I'll turn my volume down, shall I?
All the way down.
I could be able to do that on the keyboard anyway.
And you're glitching pretty hard there, and I can still hear myself.
What about now?
Testing 1, 2, 3. Yep, still hear it.
Well, we grew up shit quick, aren't we? Well.
Yep, yeah, it seems to be a bit of a too toughy one today, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we have to. Yeah, I've got to sort this shit for a while. But, until then, Vinny, thanks. I'll just end the show and I'll shut the BS down. We might have been conversation.
Yeah.
You're happy for shit, aren't you?
You're just coming across as Megatron, bro. All I hear is beep, boop, beep, exterminate. You know.
Yeah, soon.
All right. Cheers, brother. We'll catch you later. All right. Well, there he goes, ladies and gentlemen. Alan Mosdale from the Alan Mosdale Show. Because it's a quick one for me, isn't it? Just want to finish this point here as succinctly as I can. It might not be so succinct. Anyway, why do people listen to the Vinny Eastwood Show? What kind of people listen to the Vinny Eastwood Show? Well, I've met them. You know, went to a festival and like couldn't get 50 meters without somebody saying, "Hey, that's Vinny." You know, it was great. You know, fun time because everybody who listens to my show, everybody, they're interesting. You know, they're special. They're important. They've got skills. So every single person. It's unbelievable. They've all got a history. You know? And they've all got potential. And I'm like, these people listen to my show? Remember I had a guest on my show one time tell me that Slash, the lead guitarist for Guns N' Roses, listened to my show in his interview. And then he decided on the strength of that interview that he wanted to go have a jam with him. I was like, whoa. He's like telling me, Vinny, you know, important people listen to your show. And I think that's true. I think maybe all of you, really, in our own individual way, we're actually important. And it's not to say we're better than other people or whatever. We are. There's masses of people out there who haven't done the work, haven't put in their 10,000 hours. They haven't made an effort to become themselves. They haven't created anything that didn't already exist. They haven't surrendered to the flow of the universe and get up without a plan and go to bed that night having accomplished a whole lot. Because things just happen. They just come to you. You're like, I want to go do this now. Why? I don't know. Seems important. And that's how David Icke lives. He told me, you know, that's how I like to live. No plan. Stuff just happens and you're just present to take advantage of those situations or to do something that needs doing at the time. You know, this is important work we're doing here, living in the flow of the universe. And I think maybe there's too few people talking about that. Too few people knowing that you don't need to know who the guest really is before you have a conversation with them or listen to one with them. I guarantee you, like, most of the guests are people who are relative unknowns, but they're still really interesting people, just like the listenership. And so after a bit of time listening to show after show after show, you've got some people out there who've listened to several thousand of the shows, and I think there's about 6,500 of them, give or take, including videos, documentaries, short clips, you know, that kind of thing. Massive variance of what you'll see, what you will hear, and who you'll see and hear speaking about it. And that's what I find so cathartic, I think, for the listenership about the show, is there's people like you that you can listen to, that you can interact with, so that you don't feel alone. Because people who are special, who've got great skills, who are pretty clever, often not treated as good as perhaps they should be by other people with almost no skill, almost no talent, almost no brains. And you can see them out there, they're freaking everywhere, writhing around like maggots on a dying dog. Ugh. Trying to have a conversation with these people, you know. Feel like Jerry Seinfeld. Can you believe this weather? Yes, I can. You know, just can't have a conversation with these people. I find it strange and erring. Now, speaking of which, I wanted to have a look at the old chat room, and Amos is in the chat room. AMOS SEWN, SEWN. Okay, I got to get that one done. AMOS SEWN. It's the news, but spelt differently. Apparently, that's the trick. Sorry about that, bro. And well, it's funny because he can't be hosting me on his show because his internet craps out. And I think there's a lot of people just on this topic. Internet connection speed. If you're going to be broadcasting, you can't live in the middle of nowhere where the internet's crap. You kind of have to live in an Agenda 21 city, you know. Let's see if Amos has got his stuff together here. Welcome back. Welcome back, brother.
G'day, mate. How are you?
I'm borderline and I'm fabulous. Oh, you sound much better now.
Yeah, that's right, because OBS is all shut down and it's it's working now that I can talk. And well, that was a bit of a stuff up as usual. I need to get a different computer. I've tried just about everything with both computers, and it's I think the advice you've said to start with, get an Apple. I think that's the next thing.
Yeah. That's another thing. When people are getting advice from me, you know, sometimes they don't take it for what it's worth. You know, it's just like, hey, this guy's made 6,500 videos. Maybe I should listen to what he's talking about when it comes to what equipment to get if I want to make anything. You know.
And at the time, I just couldn't afford it. So, but yeah, I can't afford it now. But well, let's face it, I'll work it out somehow. Yeah.
Well, I remember the first Mac that I bought. It was from the last payment that I got for working a real job, and I sooner or later found out that computer was not good enough. It wasn't going to do the trick. Mm-hmm. And so I asked people on my broadcast whether or not they've got access to something better or whatever. And one of my listeners actually let me borrow his computer for I think he let me borrow it for a couple of weeks until a listener actually bought me a new one. And ever since then, my listeners have been buying my computers if and when I need them, pretty much. But, you know, it's just about putting the work in. You really do need to do so many shows and upload so many videos in order for people to even notice that you're doing anything. That's right. And see the value in it, you know?
That's right. Yeah, correct. And well, I've been struggling the other way for about a year or so, and I got 218 subscribers or something so far. It's slow, but I need to get better equipment to run the show, and that's going to be a priority sort of thing. And also, it's quite mostly it's the time of day that I do a show. This must be like a peak time of day, and quite often, you know. If I do shows like late at night or early in the morning or something like that, I generally don't have any troubles. So, and I'm on wireless, so that's a bit of an issue. You know?
Yeah, everything needs to be wired. The Mark Casio method.
Yeah, yes, definitely.
Yeah, hardwired and on a desktop computer, not a laptop.
Yep.
You know, not a frickin' iPad. A desktop computer.
Yeah. Well, that would be the proper way to set it up, wouldn't I imagine? Yeah.
Well,
it's proper studio.
Future-proofing, you know? So if you're able to do everything today, that computer's going to last you nearly 10 years. All right? Yeah. And what are you going to produce over that 10 years that, well, you're not worrying about tech issues?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Now, like, for example, today, like, I had a couple of news stories I want to talk about and things like that, but it's right at the point. Couldn't even get the music happening without the technical faults, and so I'm just going to keep on plugging away. Yeah. Well, as you said when you first sort of we first started talking, yeah, most people don't last or anything like that. And well, I'm not doing a real good job, but I'm lasting, sort of thing. And it's part of it. The show is like part of who I am now. You know what I mean? I have quite often I get DK on. Hello, DK, if you're in the chat room anywhere. He's pretty helpful in some of the things he finds out on his site, sort of thing. And well, he's always up for a good convo with a bit of a. He's a bit of an entertaining conversationalist. Would you say?
It depends how many drinks he's had.
Depends what time of day it is, yes.
If it's on the first couple of beers, like at about 9 o'clock in the morning, he's absolutely great. But you know, I got called up by a fellow talk radio show host the other night, and he'd had a few beers too many, and he kept repeating himself and stuff like that. And I was just like, yeah, man, I can't handle that kind of drunk. It annoys the hell out of me.
I'll drink to that.
Yeah. I mean, like I always say, there's some people who shouldn't drink, and there's some people who shouldn't smoke weed. But fortunately, I'm neither of those people.
No, neither am I. Yeah. I am. I'll probably drink a bit too much, and eventually I'll slow down, but not today. If you know what I mean.
Yes.
And actually, to some extent, I do drink quite a lot less than I used to. So
it's like on Game of Thrones, there is only one God, the God of stopping drinking. And there is only one thing you'd say to God, not today.
Exactly. Well, it's it's a bit of a crutch of life, sort of thing, in a way. It's part of what I was brought up with. Like Mum and Dad always had a drink, and everyone always knew it was always drinking, sort of thing. And well, I like a beer, and a bit of mainly just beer.
Yeah. I remember Billy T. James, famous Māori New Zealand comedian, he says, well, I'm half Scottish and half Māori, so half of me likes to drink and the other half doesn't like to pay for it.
Yes. Yeah, we all pay for it in the end.
Yeah, some guys wandering around with a T-shirt that's saying the liver is evil and must be punished.
I had one of those shirts once.
See, I rest my case. And I think it's some kind of inertia. Oh, he's... we'll wait for Alan to call back there in a moment when his connection resets. But with drinking, there's two types of drinkers. The one who just becomes maybe a little bit more extravagant and maybe a little bit more fun, and the ones that start repeating themselves or become obnoxious or become aggressive or big, that kind of thing. Mate, back in the day, if you were like that, roughed up somebody's woman or tried to bash somebody in the street or whatever, in the Old West, people were armed, they'd blow you away. And the same was true of medieval times in England, where these cultures have had alcohol for a long time. And the thing is that these cultures can generally tolerate it a bit better than some other cultures when they just first get introduced to it, Native American Indians, Maori, take your pick. It was used as a poison to control them. And some people get completely out of control on it, and then people blame them for their behaviour and action. It's like, no, bro, you pushed booze on them. Okay, the cheapest place to get alcohol in Auckland is South Auckland, where the largest Pacifica population in the world lives. Destroy people with this stuff. Now, don't let me get on my high horse or whatever. I like a drink. More than most, perhaps. But I have had only a few hangovers in my life. And it's not because I don't drink very often. I mean, I did back in the days, reasonably rare for me to actually go out and have a few drinks now, being a daddy and all, but people don't learn maybe as fast as I do sometimes. Like, sickness, vomiting. Yeah, this doesn't seem that great. Why don't we try to find something to mitigate that? Have a drink, have a glass of water. Have a drink, have a glass of water. Have a drink, have a glass of water. And then it's 4 o'clock in the morning. Everybody else is like, all dehydrated, and their cells are full of poison and stuff like that. And I'm still like, oh, yep, sweet as man, it's time to drive home. I've sobered up a little bit. And it takes you like maybe 2-3 glasses of water to sober enough to drive. And you've got a good buzz going the whole night. And you've got to eat as well. Make sure you eat. Every couple of hours at least. And not just, snack foods or something. Eat something substantial. Eat like an actual meal. You don't want to go around drinking and damaging yourself simultaneously, because that stops you from having a good time. And if the whole point of drinking is to have a good time, why don't you drink responsibly? Too many people out there going, oh, mate, we're going to get really messed up tonight. It's going to be fantastic. Bro, you're missing the point. You got to be able to talk to people. You got to be able to hold conversations and things like that. You got to be able to dance without tripping over. You got to make sure you don't lose track of your keys and so on and so forth. Responsibility. That's what it's all about, man. So you don't become a burden for other people. And more kind of thing. If you're not the person who can't handle their stuff, you often wind up helping other people who can't. You see? You become a contributor to the party in ways that other people really can't be, because they're too frickin' inebriated or too self-absorbed or too selfish or something like that. And that's usually because they've got, unresolved trauma. It's probably the reason why they're drinking so much, because they're trying to get to that point where it dulls the pain of being alive and blacks them out so that they don't dream about the terrible things that have happened to them. Okay? Why do you think these people can't handle their piss? It's because they take too much. They turn into ghouls. Al-ghouls. It's the Arabic word that we've anglicized into alcohol. Alright? These dead, spirit-inhabited husks. Creatures, really. So if you can't handle your piss, please don't come and hassle me. That annoys the hell out of me. Especially if you're female. Man, female drunks. Guy drunks, they're freaking annoying. Female drunks, they're so freaking intolerable. It's unbelievable. So loud. So annoying. Man. Everybody definitely got to figure out how to handle their piss, mate. Like, bro, seriously. You're an adult. You're past 18. You're legally allowed to buy the stuff, and you can't figure out how to drink it properly? Come on. Am I alone here? Thinks that having a box of beers in a night, as long as you've had a dozen glasses of water to go with it and like 3 meals, is a good night. Right? But a box of beers in a night, and that's all you've been having, you're going to be sick as a dog the next day, and probably pissed as hell while you're at the party and pissing everybody off. 8. It's like I have to parent you people. Not talking about you necessarily, but still, you know what I'm saying. This basic adultitude. And with this concept in mind, it spreads to other drugs and things of that nature. People are like, oh no, I don't touch weed, it's a drug, It's just like, what do you think you're drinking there, mate? You think it's just okay to drink your drug and give you caffeine and all the boosts and stuff like that it gives you with all the massive pressure it puts on your adrenal cortex. You see, people just do things. They don't really think about it. They don't research into it. My philosophy is know the poison and drink it anyway. Okay? At least know what you're doing. Oh, sorry, Vinny, we've only got this artificially sweetened stuff. Alright, well, there's nothing else, might as well. And you know that you're probably only going to have 1 cup of that. You're not going to drink a bottle of it. You know? You got truthers who are really big, drinking all this Coke Zero and artificially sweetened stuff, and they're wondering why they're still big. Here's why. It's formaldehyde at room temperature. Your body is above room temperature, so it's extra formaldehyde, alright? You're being preserved from the inside out, son. And the thing that is sweet in it makes your body think that sugars are coming, and so it prepares to receive them and gets all these processes going, and there ain't no sugar there. So your body just starts putting on weight. It starts thinking that there's nothing but fake sugar around, that we can't get any real sustenance from this, and so you start putting on weight. And also, your body starts to crave sugar even more, so you eat other stuff that you know you shouldn't have been eating. You know? It's like ordering a brownie and a low-fat cappuccino. All right? You're cancelling out these things, man. And food, mate. Cooking. There's people who can't even freaking cook. Don't know how to use garlic, don't know how to use olive oil, don't know what rosemary's for, no idea about tarragon, no concept of turmeric, no freaking they just get carried away with caraway seeds, you know. It's just, if you can't make a curry, nachos, spaghetti bolognese traditionally, you know, with all the ingredients that you can find in that kind of thing, and steak, roast, right? Do you know how to make a roast pork? You know, with the crackling that's all popped and all crunchy, even the fatty bits that are next to it, with the pork that's still juicy, that pulls apart and is yet still dry. All right, with a bit of salt and pepper on it and a bit of apple sauce, mate. Okay, these things are very important, I think. Knowing how to cook, knowing how to drink, knowing how to eat. People they just do things, as I said, and they don't really think about the importance of it. Even like blessing your food, for example. Heard of some study one point, and they measured the bloods and the nutrient absorption by the foods that people were eating, made them identical meals. Very similar family, you know, age and height and all of that kind of stuff. And gave them the same meal. One of them blessed it before they ate it, and the other didn't, and they measured their blood afterwards, and the guys who blessed their food, their bloods looked better than the other guys. All right, when they were identical before. So what have we, how to think, all right? Not what to think, but how to think. Let's say somebody pissed me off today, and do I want to spend the rest of my day being pissed off about it, or do I want to go find and maybe call about half a dozen people and help them, or talk about something interesting, or create something beautiful? You know? It's a pretty easy decision, but we can just sit there and be stuck in a rut, you know, and not be able to snap out of it. I hope you've all been there, because I'm there occasionally. And that's the other thing, is like thinking that you're perfect, or thinking that you're enough, you know, like, yeah, I've done enough work, or something like that. It's like, I'm afraid not. I'm afraid not. And it turns out the reason why Amos's connection failed is that he dropped his beer. You know, I'll drink to that. Where's my... I've got icy water. Non-fluoridated ice. Oh man, it's so good. Especially on the hot days. It is hot in New Zealand at the moment, man. You know what you got to do. Go to your fridge. Go to your freezer. How many ice cube trays do you got? Have you got even space in your freezer to put ice cube trays? Listen to me. Listen to me very carefully. This might be the most important thing this summer that you'll ever hear from anybody. I've got 6 ice trays. Okay? Whenever I put some ice in my drink, and I put ice in every drink, for me, guests, whatever, got to keep it cold, man, because it's bloody hot. 6 ice cube trays. And every time you put ice in any drink or whatever, you go to the water filter thingy, and then you put some filtered water in those missing ice cube compartments there, and then you put it back in, and they freeze up with the rest of them. All right? It means you've got ice all the time. And it's just like a little thing, you know? A little bit of space in the freezer, a few ice cube trays, and some non-fluoridated water that you can easily frickin' fill those things up with every time you use them. Boom. That's going to make your summer a hell of a lot better. Especially if you've got lemon ice cubes, like I do. I juice ice off the tree. Right, I mean, can't juice off of a tree. Lemons off the tree. Right? My naturopath David Holden from holdenhealthcare.com said to me, Vinny, you need to be drinking a hell of a lot of lemon water. You know, like nearly 3 litres a day. And I was like, oh my gosh. You know, you can buy lemon water. You can buy lemon and stuff like that. But fortunately, though, the tree outside seemed to produce like a gargantuan virgin Noah's Ark of lemons. And got a cold pressed juicer. So we juiced them all, skins and all. And I think we got like nearly 8 litres of lemon juice. 8 litres of lemon juice. That was freaking nice. Poured them into the ice cube trays. Poured the ice cube trays when they're frozen into some freezer bags and things like that. Got a freezer full of ice cubes and lemon ice cubes every drink of the day throughout the hot summer. It's unbelievable. Like, you know, people would be like, Vinny, why are you still wearing that jacket? It's like, because I look cool in it now. This is another element that I think people disregard, is that your lifestyle has to have at least some chill space, right? Okay, you got to have something that you are doing that is fun and chill on a daily basis, because otherwise you lose the reason for living. Okay, you know, somebody once said we're not here for a long time, we're here for a good time, right? I respectfully disagree with the notion to an extent. Okay, you're not just here for a good time, you're here to struggle as well. You're here to go through loss, pain, suffering. Okay, it's like Princess Bride. Life is pain, Highness. Anybody who says something different is selling something. And that may be so, but it doesn't mean that you can't at least put a little bit of effort into making your life and the things that you consume a little bit better. You know? And the realist says, hi, Vinny. Hi, realist. And hi to mandatory myocarditis and all of that kind of thing. You guys can blither away in the chat there, and I'll sort of try and get to your comments in a second. If anybody got any actual questions and stuff like that, you need like an all caps, you know, just Vinny, you know, Vinny in all caps, and then followed by your whatever you want me to read out. I'll do it. I swear to gosh, I'll do it. Now, this show, the Vinny Eastwood show, yeah, 16 years, mate. Oh, man, when you say it like that, it's like somebody been spending it in prison, you know. My brother got to serve. He was a pretty high-class waiter, my brother was back in the day, before he became a chiropractor. Scumbag. Now, that is an actual joke. I just thought it would sound funny, and it did to me. It did to me. And as far as I'm concerned, amusing myself is what's really most important in life. because if I'm not having fun. Debbie's asking, how is Alfie, Vinny? Thank you, Debbie, for using the all caps. That actually helps. It really does help differentiate all the things that are talking about stuff. Alfie, well, he stood up by himself just the other day. Rebecca's like, oh my God, he stood up by himself. You know, it was just like, oh my God, it was really cute. She's a little chubba bubba try to hold his weight and his big bowl head. It was very cute, and he's been doing lots of laughing, and he's been starting to stack things into other things now and on top of other things, going through those little milestones. And I think every day there's a new picture or video coming at me from Rebecca's going, oh my God, you've seen this? This is so cute. I was like, yes, he's cute, baby. I was there when he was born. Now, in fact, I freaking delivered him myself. This is he's not yet one. He's going to be one on the 1st of Feb, and I think is it the 3rd of Feb is the Saturday? I think we're having a little party for him. And it's going to be dog themed. So we're going to have everybody dressed as dogs and stuff like that in the 28-degree heat. That's going to be fun for everybody. I will be wearing t-shirt and shorts, maybe with like a dog snout on or something. No, we need to be able to smoke. I don't know what I'll be wearing to the party. I don't think that far ahead. I got no plans, man. I'm kind of like the B.A. Baracus of planning, you know. I ain't getting on no planning. And the A-Team. I remember my bassist from Vinny and the Vendettas back in the day, Ian. He told me about the A-Team, and he says that the best way to get in anywhere with any amount of stuff is just to pretend to be like construction or maintenance or something like that, just wearing high-vis jumpsuits and just coming in with huge bags of weapons and what have you on the A-Team. It's just freaking classic. I keep getting away with it. I've got that sort of hunger thing going. You know, when you work real hard and then you get real starving afterwards, and if there isn't food within 15 minutes, you start getting kind of grouchy. You know, that's been happening to me a bit lately. It was just like, man, when you're jostling a baby and doing a show and taking care of your missus and all that kind of stuff, sometimes you just forget to eat. You know, and your diet suffers terribly by this because all the time is kind of it fleets by. You know, you're just like, man, that was 3 hours. Whew, man, I need a break. I need something to eat. I can't believe it. And like this year, I've got like real positive thoughts about it. You know, and I don't normally do that. I see lots of people who have these great predictions. Everything's going to be okay. The white hats are going to save. The White Dragon Society is going to save us. The white supremacists are going to save. The white Christmas is going to save. Whatever people are believing in these days, beyond the scope of what work do I need to do in order to contribute to the greater whole? Because every person I smile at, even that triggers reactions and responses and that kind of thing. You know, there's nobody coming to save you. All right, you've got to be able to take care of yourself. Because if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anyone else. And of course, that's incredibly ironic coming from me, who works and lives and dies basically based on your donations and what have you. So if you do believe that the show is worth supporting and that I'm worth keeping alive, go to the VinnyEastwoodShow.com. There's Vinny with a Y because it's the most important question. And Eastwood, like, go ahead, make my news. and go ahead, make a donation and start up an automatic payment, even $1 a month or $5 or $10 a month, $5 a week, something that you can spare. It's just like, yeah, I'd buy Vinny Eastwood a cup of coffee a week. You know, I'd buy Vinny Eastwood a box of beers a month. You know, whatever it is that you calculate in your mind that Vinny Eastwood should be spending it on. You know, I'd buy Vinny an ounce a month. You know, it's something that we all have to do, I think, in order to survive. You know, you have to work. You have to sing for your supper, as it were, as the old saying goes. And I believe that there's, I think, a lot of people who are incredibly grateful for the work that this show has put out there over the many years, and they show it regularly through their donations and gifts, and they send me things, you know. Even a lady sent us some nice hemp products the other day. Another guy's sending me a batch of experimental beers, you know. I was like, oh man, that sounds really lovely. So that gifting sort of thing. I do the show for free, gift it out to you. You can gift back if you want, or you can gift the show to other people. It's just like, hey bro, listen to this. You know, why would I listen to that guy? His jokes are worse than living in a high-tech global police state run by intergenerational wealth families. That's not funny. I beg to differ. It is, because it's ridiculous. All right, I mean, think about any element of the New World Order, and try to explain to me how it's not ridiculous. And if it is ridiculous, why shouldn't we ridicule it? Why shouldn't we have a few laughs at the New World Order's expense? You know? This is why Klaus Schwab was, of course, recently quoted saying that there is a need to penetrate the Vinny Eastwood show. It's been exposing entirely too much scumbaggery, and it must be shut down. And Bill Gates as well noted that, well, it's impossible to infiltrate a one-man operation, so I was thinking about developing a Vinny scene. Something that you can penetrate Vinny with. But I believe it might just work. And the king also weighed in and said, yes, there is definitely a need to solve this Vinny Eastwood problem. You see, the scumbaggery that we're involved in, he's attempting to expose the scumbaggery, and this simply shall not pass. Now, with such opposition to the Vinny Eastwood show, you know it's good. And Debbie Lacey says, if you've got good friends and family around you, that's great. Yeah. And as a Truth Movement person, you'll soon find yourself without both. Yeah, I mean, usually, if you've... Oh, you lucky bastards. Some of you actually grew up in a truther family, didn't you? You started wondering whether or not the world was an holographic fractal being projected by a collective consciousness experiencing itself subjectively, and your father was explaining it to you at the age of 16 and telling you that 9/11's an inside job. It's all you ever knew was the frickin' truth, innit? Bastards. You know, you don't get the pain. And the little jabs. I think that's the trolling. You know? I've always said I have oh my goodness, blocked so many people from the comment section of this show. You just wouldn't believe. And each of them wasn't because they disagreed with me. Or somebody who's going, oh, Vinny, you just block people who disagree with you. It's like, no, I don't. I block people who abuse me and troll me. You want to disagree with me? That's permissible. I welcome it, because you could be right. I might be wrong, and we can have a civil conversation about it. But if you disagree and are abusing me and trolling me, your kind of chatter is not the kind I want to give my energy to. Okay? And the block button happened, and the scum is gone, and everybody in the fatherland can live free. Okay? Thus is the operating procedure of the Vinny Eastwood Show. Thank you very much to our sponsors. You must eat the bugs. I believe there was somebody in the chat room over here. New Zealand was egalitarian country. Stupid people don't understand egalitarian. Man, I must be a stupid person. I don't exactly understand it. I mean, maybe conceptually, but being able to actually explain it, right? You know, forward thinking, keeping everybody taken care of, and knowing that everybody's got a part to play in the running of their society, and not to try and mess it up. Is that egalitarian, like in a nutshell here? Because if it is, it definitely doesn't sound like New Zealand, mate. No, sorry, Bob. Oh, man. If I had to define the New Zealand culture, I think John Ansell said it best, that the New Zealand culture is marked by a particular characteristic: a lack of enthusiasm. All right? You're in New Zealand. What have you got to be enthusiastic about? Really? There's nothing going on here. There's nobody here. You know? Most of the population live in a place where everything closes down at 7 o'clock at night. Because there's nobody around for the business to be going, you know? It's crazy. It's a... Basically, if you had to define New Zealand's landmass, it's divided into two sections: old folks' homes and sleepy beach communities. Okay? That's basically how you define New Zealand. It's a sleepy beach community old folks' home. All right? It's not the center of where things are pumping. All right? It's not a spiritual mecca. There is no, you know, this, God, I want to get out of this country. Please, somebody deliver me out of this freaking country. I can't stand it any longer. You know, people go, oh, New Zealand's beautiful. Yeah, to live here for a bit. You know, and you find out that it's so freaking expensive to live cheaply, because everything has to come here from overseas, and we don't manufacture anything really here anymore. It's a pain in the... you know, we've been shutting it down in accordance with Agenda 21. And I think the stronger Agenda 21 gets in New Zealand, the less I like it. You know? Am I alone in this? Am I the only one who's looking at New Zealand and thinking, oh my God? But then knowing, of course, that it's pretty much the same. It's getting the same, or in similar ways, everywhere, isn't it? I talk to people in Australia, Canada, and the UK and the US on a regular basis, and the same stuff that I'm talking about happening here is happening over there. The difference is organised crime here is a little bit more organised. You know? Man, the criminals in this country move fast. They take over governments, just like that. You know? Anytime somebody starts speaking out and getting their headway in there and stuff like that, all right, you know, sick the dogs on you. It's brutal, man. And same thing happens everywhere. All right, to different degrees. What are we even talking about here? Is there any difference between our countries now? I mean, other than the accent, you could be talking like this, and you'd still be under Agenda 21, or you could be talking like this, and you'd still be under Agenda 21, and you could be talking like this, and you'd still be under Agenda 21, or you could be talking like this. And you'd still be under Agenda 21. All right? They've got us. All the English-speaking countries in the world, they've freaking got us. Haven't they? And it's terrifying, you know. You're sitting there watching your nation being torn apart. Everybody you've ever known dying or about to get enslaved and ruthlessly exterminated by criminal scumbaggery. You know? It's not something you really want to have to deal with. Nevertheless, we do have to deal with it. And having that realization that there's nowhere to run to, you know, this is my land. This is my country. And I'm going to defend it. I don't care what anybody else does. I'm going to defend my country from the biggest threat that countries face and have ever faced, their own government. Government is not a good thing. I think Hollywood's taught us that the heroes are always the cops. The heroes are always the military. The heroes are always that guy on Capitol Hill who worked really hard or whatever. No. I'm afraid not. The heroes are people like you and me who just happen to be in the right place at the right time to help somebody out and then sends them off into a positive course when they were just about to kill themselves. Or they were just about to hurt somebody else. That peaceful little angel, friendly in your ear or whatever, that helps somebody realize that there's something wrong with their digestive system and they need to take some frickin' turmeric or some crap. You know, look, people like you and me are full of knowledge. Huge quantities of it. To anybody who will listen, we'll just, you know you do. And the problem is that most people aren't curious. They don't ask questions. So that when you go with all this knowledge and stuff like that, it makes people kind of like, it's just going on and on and on. Like a record, isn't it? Some of us. And maybe even all of us at times. Don't you ever notice sometimes you're just ranting at somebody and you're not actually listening to them and you're not actually noticing whether or not they're paying attention to you? That's a profound realization of like self-analysis. Like, oh, what am I doing? Slow down. This is not politic. Because we've got to try and, I guess, be a bit of an example to others. Don't you think? Why wouldn't we want to be seen as something a bit more positive? As something a bit more friendly or clever or something of that nature, because at the end of the day, there's too many other people going on, trying to mess with our minds, trying to mess with our feeling of, I guess, joy, right? Joy is not the point of life, but if there isn't any joy in it, there ain't much point to life. You understand? You know, it can't just be endless suffering. It can't just be always going uphill. There's got to be a downhill where you can coast a little bit. Okay? So, don't put too much pressure on yourselves. I don't. I have done probably... I think I've published more content than any other individual in terms of the freedom movement in New Zealand ever has, or conceivably ever will. 20,000 hours of content plus, and counting. And I can tell you that if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't take breaks, and I mean sometimes big, long breaks, sometimes you need a month to yourself, And the only way you can really do that is by the support of your audience. Okay? Your audience needs you to tell them that you need help, that you need $5 a week or $10 a month to support the broadcast. So that way, when you've had too many conversations that are really important and really powerful, you have time to shake that off. Otherwise, you're going to turn into what a lot of talk radio show hosts turn into. Dicks. Bold, unwavering, careless, unlistening, interrupting dicks. Okay, because they've had enough. They have not given themselves enough time to recharge their empathy levels, to start caring about people and what they're doing again, and they try to suppress their real feelings and their need to be alone, because they can't be alone and they can't find an income stream to live off for a short period of time so that they can get themselves back together, you know. And that's how I've been surviving, you know. And I still, despite taking long breaks and plenty of time off and that kind of thing, still producing way more content than the vast majority of people. It's because if you don't give yourself adequate rest, you don't do adequate work. All right? Work real hard, rest real hard. Work real hard, rest real hard. There's no just work. You're going to burn yourself out. You'll be no good to anybody. So just take a break sometimes. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Have a look at what you've done. Think about what you're going to do next. And while you're taking your break, the solution will come to you. All right? The brain allows you to concentrate for around about 45 minutes. Peak concentration. After that, you start forgetting things, you start making mistakes, and then you have to go back and correct those mistakes when you should have just had a break. All right? Allow your brain a little bit of time to reset and then get back to it. That's all I'm asking. Is for you guys to take it easy, take a break when you feel like you need it, and take as long a break as you feel you need. Because you deserve it, because you're awesome, and I know that you're awesome because you listen to the VinnyEastwoodShow.com. And I know that there's very few people who listen to this show, and each one of them is very special indeed, because I've met so many of you, and you're very, very cool people. And you're all very interesting, and you've all got so much knowledge, and the fact that you listen to me is very humbling, and I'm incredibly grateful for all of you. So with that being said, thank you very much, ladies, gentlemen, and hermaphrodites. My fellow slaves of the global plantation, the Vinny Eastwood Show is bad news. It's like the news, but so much worse. It's the lighter side of genocide. Just because we're being exterminated doesn't mean we can't enjoy it. Otherwise, what's the point of being killed? The Vinny Eastwood Show, where the only thing worse than living in a high-tech global police state run by ultra-intergenerational wealth families is Vinny's jokes.